and thank you for tuning in to another episode, the second episode of the Get Back podcast. I'm your host, Ashton Anthony, and this week I have featured two guests on this podcast, and that is Armani Ross and Antonio. What's your last name?
Mattox.
Maddox. Mattox or Maddox?
Mattox.
Mattox. I never really knew your last.
name.
Yeah.
That's all right.
So, damn, did I mess you up?
No, it's cool. I mean, I kind of just cut it once you start talking.
Okay. No, we're good. Just keep it all.
Keep it all.
Keep it all. We're featuring for the first time a 3-camera setup with a switcher, a portable switcher. So we're featuring some camera crew and producers, directors. So I just want to give a special appreciation to my backstage people. This morning we had some technical difficulties, but we got the show on the road. So without further ado, I just would like to say thank you to my two guests and switch it over to you to introduce yourselves.
So my name is Armani, and I am a junior mass communication student, and I am one of the directors of Aggie News, co-vice president of Aggie Filmmakers, and creator of Life of an Aggie. So I do a lot of filmmaking on set things because that's just where I feel like I feel best. And yeah.
I'm Antonio. I'm a freshman multimedia journalism student here. And some things about me: I sing for the gospel choir. I work with Aggie News, and yeah, kind of just doing everything that I can to like learn as much as possible before y'all leave me. And yeah, interested in being a sports journalist, analyst, broadcaster. So yeah.
Okay. So this week we are going on spring break, and this week has been really, I'd say, stressful for a lot of people. And we're towards the end of the week, which also marks the first of a new month, and that is Black History, or was Black History Month. Now is March. And what are your guys' spring break plans?
You go first.
Okay. My plans is to go home and do absolutely nothing. Like, I've been busy, like, ever since second semester started. It's like I just been running at 100 miles per hour. So
real.
when I get home, like, I'm a annoy my sister as much as possible. And just like really relax for real. So yeah.
I'm gonna say honestly, really the same thing. Just take time to just enjoy my peace, be alone, catch up on some sleep. Maybe also work on like a couple of side projects that I didn't really have time to put time into while in school because I got stuff to do. But that's really it.
Yeah, I'd say, well, like I said last week, I'm just going home. Take this time to really relax your minds. And to anybody else, if we do have A&T students watching this, just take the time to relax your minds and get ready because the stretch after spring break is like really, really, really stressful. So, but yeah, so I guess we get into our first segment. And since we have senior and junior, upperclassmen, and we have the little old freshman here. We're going to do a segment and talk about things that I guess me and Armani wish we knew as a freshman, so that we can help out little Antonio here. So
Right.
I'll go first. My freshman year was in the beginning stages of, well, not the beginning stages, kind of in like when COVID hit over the spring in 2020, my freshman semester was fall 2020. And so when I got in here, A&T didn't even know like how they were going to handle, you know, having students on campus and stuff like that as well. So there was a lot of things I wasn't able to do, and that was, you know, being a part of student organizations. We didn't have a homecoming, stuff like that. So my freshman experience was really hindered and really limited to just connecting with people on campus. But I think at that time that was a really good semester because it's like that's all we were really focused on, like our classwork and the people we would come into contact and like networking and meeting new people. So uh, this is kind of gonna be a really, I guess, interesting thing for me as much as Antonio because there's a lot of things I wasn't able to. I don't know if it was the same way for you the year after. So,
I came in last year, but like just like with credits, like I'm a junior.
mm,
But I would say with my freshman experience, I'm not gonna lie, that first year, I mean, I was locked in with school, but I definitely was like partying a little bit. But then I was seeing people around me doing what they wanted to do, and I got inspired by that. So second
hmm
semester, I was like, okay, it's time to lock in. So that's really was like that's when it hit me. Was like, okay, I need to lock in. But also, I applaud the people who may not know what they want to do and are still taking that time to like explore different things. So, I mean, one thing I wish I did know is join clubs that genuinely interest you rather than joining clubs that are kind of just like those side clubs,
hmm
like maybe like, I mean, shout out every club on campus, like every
yeah,
club really does their thing, but there are also clubs that are more so don't like aren't really like catered to your profession, if that kind of makes sense.
hmm
So I would say to really just like create that pathway and connect with people that you feel like are gonna benefit you within your career. That's what I would say.
I would say that for me personally, like I would definitely say apply yourself. Even though like I said, I didn't really have the opportunity to, but even after that, it was like, I just didn't. I guess I didn't really know about organization on campus until the end of my junior year. Like when I talk to people and I talk to like certain underclassmen, they think I've just been doing this since like freshman year, and literally I didn't really get involved until spring semester of my junior year, and that literally all changed over the summer. Like I always say this, I went to NABJ, the conference, and I wasn't even a member of NABJ,
How?
all because I, oh, and maybe I shouldn't have said that, but there's nothing they could do now. there's
Facts.
there's nothing they could do now because it already happened. But because I had a connection with somebody, I'm not gonna put them out there. But I had a connection with somebody, and they were like, "Oh, you want to go to NABJ?" And I was like, "Yeah, what is NABJ?" And it was like, "Oh, it's like a job fair." And the people I met is why I'm in the position now. And even like now, I still wish that I did this. Like I said last episode, I've been wanting to do this podcast for since my senior year in high school. Um, and I wish that I was able to do it last year, right? But I feel like everything happens for a reason. And then my last thing that I would say is moving off campus. For me personally, it feels like when people say that, it's like, oh yeah, like you know, um, you don't want to stay in the dorms. And I wouldn't necessarily say like off campus housing, but making sure that even when you're off campus, still keep the connections with people on campus. Because that was my problem. Like I went freshman year, fall, I had connections. I was just getting started connecting with people, and um, senior year, I went home because of like COVID and stuff, and I missed the spring semester. I got back over the summer, and then in the fall, I moved. I lived in the student off campus housing, and it's like nobody knew me. So it's like I had to automatically like make new connections, make new friendships, and I would just say like the dorms here don't like. I'm not saying like stay in the dorms because like if you do get off campus housing, just make sure that you're making a conscious effort to stay connected
Yeah.
with stuff on campus. So
So it's like don't rush to try to get into an apartment. Like you're already on campus. Everything is here. Don't rush to stay
yeah,
off.
and that's what my mom was saying. Like my mom was like, and my uncle, they were like, "Oh, you need to be on campus." I was like, "I don't want to be on campus." And like,
That's
Cause
real.
you get tired of campus,
You
bro.
do, you do.
Like
yeah,
being here and having no like type of transportation. Like I just be wanting to leave sometimes.
That's
yeah,
real.
Yeah.
yeah, and I definitely feel that like I said, like my parent or my mom and my uncle, they're like, "Oh, you need to stay on campus." And I was like, "I don't want to stay on campus." I had a dog. So I
You have a
was,
dog?
yeah, I have a dog.
Aw.
And so I was like, nah, I need to have my dog. And they were like, no, I'm telling you, you need to stay on campus. And it wasn't necessarily like staying on campus was the issue because the housing here is just like the housing application.
It's a lot.
It's,
It's too
and I
much.
tell them all the time, I'm
Start back
like,
up.
It's yeah, it's about to come back.
even if I wanted to stay on campus, it's like, uh, I wouldn't get housing because all the upperclassmen, they don't get housing. There's a lot of upperclassmen at the end that are just left without housing, but I knew like I could kind of read between the lines of what they were trying to say. Like, you need the connection to stuff on campus. So yeah.
Uh,
Also, last thing. I know I said my last thing was last thing, but this is last
All
thing.
right.
um, like Armani said, don't rush yourself. Like you have time, and you're a freshman. Like don't rush yourself. Don't feel like you need to have everything done in like in just one semester. Because like I said, like you can add enough on your portfolio. It's all about like the situations that you choose to take and the opportunities you choose to take at the time they present themselves to you. And you can really just take advantage of that in literally one semester.
sure can.
I like I said, I went to NABJ over the summer. And one year I went to NABJ over the summer. I became a reporter for the Register and an anchor for Aggie News over like a semester.
Yeah, I know. Like actually, like literally, like when I told myself, okay, that second semester freshman year, I said, okay, it's time to like stop playing around. Like I got stuff to do. So I literally told myself, I was like, well, at first, that's another thing. That's another thing. If you don't get an internship, it's okay.
Yes.
It is okay because I that my last summer I I wanted an internship so bad, but now I look back and I'm like I'm kind of glad I did not have an internship because I learned so much over
Hmm.
the course now, and I'll be like I would not have been prepared for that internship if I got an internship.
Yeah.
And I told myself last semester, I said, listen, this is gonna be like a lock-in season for me. Like I want to genuinely be deep within my work and everything I do. Photographer for the Register, director of Aggie News, e-board on Aggie Filmmakers. Like I'm part of like all of this stuff, and I feel like that's good and like that's good enough for me, and I'm okay with not receiving
Mm.
an internship. I mean, it'd still be cool if I get one or whatever, but holding those positions and honestly being involved in a lot of organizations that's gonna help you in the future and networking with all of these students like all the Crosby kids, like we're literally like a little family, like
Hmm.
just supporting each other. I feel like that's honestly what's most important. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can say like a lot of times like they say like comparison kills, but
yes,
Yes.
it does.
yeah.
I'll get into that when you're done.
Okay. Well, like when I first got here, I was like, I know I want to be like involved and like do something. Like I
Hmm.
don't want to just be sitting around because I can't do that. Like I have to be doing something. Not next week, but yeah. So like, dang, I done lost my train of thought.
That's all right.
Yeah.
But so like, nah, it's gone. I ain't gonna lie. Okay, what was
Okay.
you gonna say?
I'll pick up. Yeah. So I was gonna say like comparison and stuff like that as well. Like social media is literally a drug. Like,
Especially LinkedIn.
and you, yeah. So you'll literally see others like your peers, and I always say like it's good to have like a friendly competition, but worrying too much about the opportunities that you might not have gotten and what other people have gotten literally will it could literally like drag you down
Hmm.
all even if you're on like such a high point it can literally drag you down because there's always going to be somebody that's above you I don't like to say there's always going to be somebody better than you, because I feel like with self confidence, you should always feel like you're the best at what you do. You should also feel like you can improve yourself. Um, but there's always going to be somebody that's higher than you on a totem pole.
Yeah.
But it's also about you working your way up. So for me, like, I remember I was trying to get, my stuff done, and I'd see my peers get all these great internships, with major companies, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, wow, I'm interning with the athletics department at A&T. I'm not even doing, and it's like I'm not even like working with athletes. I'm not even like doing anything like photography or nothing. I'm literally sitting at an office desk, and that's my first internship. I'm literally sitting at an office desk, typing in like doing like analytics, like because this summer that was my first internship. I interned with Mr. Holloway in the athletics department, and literally what I would do, I was go in. It wasn't paid, literally just volunteer work. Go in, ask what section would he have me working on, and I would take the athletes and all their. I would be working on tracks. So I would take the athletes and the event that they were doing and go over like the history of like the events, so like the 100-meter hurdles, or like 500 meters or something like that. Just break it into sections or races, and I would take who had the fastest time, and I would go each year from back to like 2010, and it would be like, okay, who was the fastest athlete in that section this year, and then go through their whole career and put the 5 fastest times, and I would do that for each year, and then at the end, I would have to take like the 15 fastest times in that event in the history of A&Z. And it was just really boring. And it's like, okay, I'm doing this, but it's like I'm trying to be in a TV studio. I'm trying to be at ESPN or something like. But it's not a race. It's what's the saying?
Marathon.
It's a marathon.
I think like you have to find a balance between like surrounding yourself around people who are better than you, because
Mhm.
naturally like those are people who you can get inspired from, learn from, put you on game, and eventually you'll be like, I don't want to say compare yourself and stay up to their level, but eventually like they're gonna inspire you to make you better. But also like taking the moment to, with even small opportunities, like you being in Aggie News, like, well, me personally also, like, I have to remind myself I'm in a position now that I used to pray for.
Mhm.
Did that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you got to take in some of these small moments, but also achieve higher
Mhm.
and take, yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely like attest to that, because like last year, like this point, like last fall, I was literally doing what you were doing, like camera operating, um, and I wouldn't even come every week. I would just come whenever I had time,
Right.
and then all changed. I'm anchor, like, and producer. So
Mm-hmm. See, I was on that teleprompter
yeah,
for like a year.
yeah,
Bro, I remember when I first got here. Was that you that was talking?
I was on that teleprompter for like a good year because I was like, I don't know what else I want to do. And literally, I mastered that teleprompter. Nobody else would do it.
Dang.
yeah.
I remember my first time coming in here. I came in and talked to Mr. Moy because I was like, I want to do something.
Yeah.
And I came and he was like, okay, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know. I just want to do
You
something.
just want to be
Right.
productive.
He was like,
Right.
okay, like try teleprompter. And I was sitting there, and it might have been you that
It
came up
probably
behind.
was.
And you was like, don't do it too good, because that was my job. I was like, I'm just trying to do something like, I'm
That's
not trying
real.
to
That's
take your
real.
job.
That's real. That's real. That's real.
Yeah.
I like teaching people though. Like, I don't know. The teleprompter is really easy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it got old after a while.
Bro, no, the worst thing as a teleprompter, bro, is if you start like trying to go faster and now it's just
yeah,
flying.
it's not just
I
flying.
still don't know how to do
You gotta
teleprompter.
press the space bar. It'll
Yeah.
still like stop it. But
Yeah.
I think I have done well with surrounding myself with good people, like being around you and like Gabe,
Mm-hmm.
and like y'all do be inspiring me like every day to
Aw.
like put my foot in the mud like somehow. Like
Mhm.
I haven't really gotten started how I want to yet, but I think like just watching y'all is like teaching me
Yeah.
a lot. And when I do start doing things, like I can, you know what I'm saying, it can be good from
Yeah.
what I've seen from y'all. But I have to remember, like I just got here. Like I
Right.
can't expect
Right.
myself to be on the same level as y'all that have been doing this for who knows. Well, Ashton, like a year and however long you've been doing
Yeah.
it. So
So it just takes time.
Mhm.
It just takes
Yeah.
time.
We're gonna go to the next topic, and a little backstory behind this is we had a town hall meeting this past week, and one, a lot of people didn't show up for it as well, but basically the segment is about, do we as student journalists feel valued at A&T? And a little backstory, we've kind of had um guys or people like in the industry that would come and talk to us. We really last week had Issa Rae come, and it's just kind of weird and awkward how we're not really being reached out to like, do our job or the job that we want to do, and like interview these people, or you know get even stuff as like get content, like shooting it. We have a limited amount of time to shoot the Issa Rae speaker series, and we could only be in there for a limited amount of time. So it's like, why can't we be in there for the whole thing? Why can't we even like try to get some behind the scenes stuff? And I get there's like contracts and stuff like that you have to follow, but Armani was very passionate about it, and I feel like this segment is going to be kind of dominated by you in this section because you do have a lot to say about it.
I do have a lot
And
to say.
I'm going to sit back and I'm going to I'm going to let you, I'm going to let you take that. And I added this for you because I know
Okay.
you had a lot to say about it. So
Okay. I have a couple points. I'm not even gonna lie, but I just feel I do love this department, and I do love A&T. Aggie pride, forever and always. However, I understand that this is an engineering school, but you still need to cater to other students, and I feel like we have a lot of these Chancellor Speaker series where majority of them, we had Tracy Ellis Ross and Kerry Washington, Issa Rae. They're all in industries that we're into, but it doesn't really with the Issa Rae one specifically. I feel like the questions one of the questions were very repetitive. It was a great speaker series, I will say, but from a journalist, mass communication student's point of view, we could have came up with some better questions. Like as students, I feel like we could have came up with better questions, and maybe there are like some things she just didn't want to talk about, and that's completely fine. That's understandable, but it was also very basis level in my point of view. But overall, like with this department and like as journalist students being valued, I just feel like there just needs to be a relationship with I don't know what department, but some department of the school where we can have opportunities to show up and show out and learn. Because when I was at the town hall and hearing some of these students' point of views, I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that happened. And it just kind of made me even like feel some type of way even more. Like, I'm not going to say the name, but someone covered an event and also seen a media person while she was there also doing media for like an organization or something. And, she was kind of like talking to them, but the official like media person, she was kind of like bugging her off, like kind of like not really like, engaging,
yeah.
like being being open. Like if I see if I'm out shooting something and I see a person with a camera, what kind of camera you got? What lens you use? I'm trying to create conversation. And if you do that, especially like me as a student, and I'm sitting here trying to learn from you, it's just like that kind of hurts.
Yeah.
Like no, I don't know.
Yeah, and I'll definitely say like it comes to a point where it's like if there are media I guess, media people out there to cover the event, then I feel like we should have the opportunity to be able to like, if you, I honestly feel like if you're dealing with somebody like Issa Rae and you feel like, okay, you want this to be top notch, you want it to be, you don't want to put this in the hands of a student,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then, but you should also give the opportunity for like at least one media person in A&T or in the Crosby to kind of shadow, I guess,
Right.
to provide a better opportunity to connect with your audience, which is the students, right? Like, or somebody that's, I don't know, like I'm not really connected with a lot of people here at A&T. Um, maybe there's somebody that's doing what I'm doing, interviewing and stuff like that. Give that opportunity to a student.
Yeah.
Like, let's say we have Stephen A. Smith for our speaker series. Reach out to, I'm not saying like me, but I'm saying like reach out to somebody that's doing something like that, or kind of give like a little workshop or something like that to kind of teach them, how to handle themselves in that situation. And I feel like the bigger point that I'm trying to get at is like, I really do feel like we aren't being prepared enough. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like we have professors and we have people in this department that are doing their best. They actually care about us. Like they're not here to just teach us and just go about their day.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
here to make sure that we're prepared. But in terms of the university, and I get it, we're the number one public HBCU in the nation, so I get it. It's hard to reach to everybody, but I feel like there should be a better effort, and I feel like we're not being prepared enough when we enter the real world.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a leading cause of why students who graduate from HBCUs, they don't really like, we have a good majority or a certain majority of students that, they can't find a job because and my mentor tells me this all the time, the biggest reason that people like us of our skin color, and we don't really land jobs, or when we do land a job, our tenure is really short, is because we don't get the proper soft skills training that we need, that people of other demographics get. Like, we don't know how to carry ourselves. We don't know how to, when we're introduced to people with other demographics, or we're introduced to an interview or something like that, and we're in an area of everybody and we're trying to network, we don't know how to really carry ourselves in that certain situation. And just another stuff like, I saw you were about to say something though.
Oh, well, it was before you started talking about different demographics, because I don't really have much to say on that part because
Mm.
I've been kind of in a glass box kind of when with my upbringing. But with the not being prepared, I feel like that's how Gabe be talking about, like, we have to kind of forge our own
Mm.
path.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's an like you got to take it as an opportunity to, like, okay, these people, well, not these people, but like the professors here, like, may not be leading me in the right direction of like where I want to go, but let me see what I can do on my own, like on my own time, to where I can build something up for myself, if that makes sense. Like how, like, we have a limited amount of time to record Issa Rae, but how Mercy like made that into a whole
Mm-hmm.
package, and like it was good with what you had to make something out of nothing,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like, you got to work with what you got to get where you want to
Mm-hmm.
go.
Yeah. I agree. Like this, like, I mean, in the town hall, I know they were saying like we were understaffed and stuff, and I completely understand some of their point of view, but I also, like, I told myself, like, I love Crosby. I love Crosby kids. I love the dedication that I see. But I told myself, when I make it one day, I'm coming back to this
Mm-hmm.
department and donating money. And I'm saying, you need to have this in the curriculum. You need to have this in the curriculum, and this and this and this. And I need them to sign a contract, so I was guaranteed that it'll happen. Because I feel like this department is very journalism, newspaper based, which is fine. But there's also more, like, it's mass communication. It's the
Mm-hmm.
mass. It's a lot, and it's very broad. Social media is big nowadays. Me as a filmmaker, I feel like we have editing classes, but they're very repetitive. I shouldn't be learning something that I'm learning in advanced video production that I'm learned in intro to video production. And we're spending all this money, and I'm understand. I feel like I should be validated to feel this way, but I also understand like we're understaffed, and maybe the curriculum isn't the best, and this is an engineering school, but you still gotta like cater to like all the other students as well, though.
Yeah, and last thing I'll say, and I wasn't not necessarily saying like we need to be spoon fed, because one thing we're gonna do, we're gonna make it work. Like one thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make it work.
No,
like
for real.
literally, backstory. Like this morning, the podcast wasn't literally looked like I was not gonna shoot an episode, and we made it work.
Yep.
And we did a damn good job of making it work. So I'm gonna make it work. I just feel like a little bit more. I guess what I'm looking for.
Guidance.
Yeah, a little bit more guidance, because at the end of the day, we are still students.
Yeah.
Like 21, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 25, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're still students, and there's still a certain amount of knowledge that needs to be gained before you leave this university and you leave any university and leave all the resources that you're able to gain and you're able to bring in. And before you leave all of that and you go out into the world and there's nothing but you, God, and your family and your close friends, like, and your connections that you have made. So, I think this is good. Like,
Yeah.
I said this last episode, and I'll probably say this for certain topics. Like, we can go on forever. And I understand we're kind of on like a time crunch. So we're gonna move on. But before we move on, I just want to ask if there's anything else you guys would want to say about this pertaining.
I think we covered it all. Yeah.
Okay. Like I said at the beginning, this is a new month. That means the conclusion of Black History Month. Even though I feel like every month is Black History Month.
Amen.
But in my opinion, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, this was the worst Black History Month ever. I'm sorry. It was
feel
the
like
worst.
It wasn't black enough.
It wasn't. And our own people were embarrassing themselves. So when I was working on the segments, obviously, like I said last week, we have top 5 segment that I do every week and an album of the week segment. This week, I have 3 editions of the top 5 segment. And this one is to recap the month of February and to kind of explain why I think this was one of the worst Black History Months. I got the top 5 most culturally shocking moments this past month in the month of February, right? And I'm going to tell you guys my list, and, you guys give me your reaction.
Okay.
All right.
But I'll get through my list. So, honorable mention, All-Star Weekend.
No, bro, it was
Okay.
bad.
All-Star Weekend. All-Star Weekend is supposed to be a pinnacle for us, right? And I remember growing up, and I wasn't born in the 90s, so, and I know like the dunk contest with Jordan and Vince Carter and all that was great. But even I remember moments growing up. The Sprite sponsored dunk contest with Blake Griffin where he jumped over the car. The 2016 edition of the dunk contest in Toronto with Zach LaVine,
Yeah.
Aaron Gordon.
That was the peak.
Like, it's just, All-Star Weekend. And if you're a fan of the NBA, it's like, All-Star break, it's like, you get a game every other day or every day and you could get a game. But like when you get the All-Star break and get a break from that, it's like, okay, it's fine because it's All-Star Weekend. We have the skills challenge. We have the Rising Stars. We have the celebrity game, All-Star game, and then All-Star Saturday with all the skills and stuff like that. And it was just a great, like, I remember growing up, I was like, you know what, I want to be a celebrity, or I want to be, make it big to where I'm out on the front court or in the front row of the court with the athletes watching the dunk contest and watching my mind being blown. And this All-Star weekend was probably the worst All-Star weekend, or one of the worst. Like, the dunk contest doesn't even feel like the dunk contest anymore. The three-point shootout is way better than the dunk contest, and it's just like the feel just isn't there.
I feel like it felt rushed
Mm-hmm.
in a way, and like they came to do it not to really have fun, but really to just get the job over with.
Yeah, and so that's why I put it at honorable mention, because I do feel like it was just like a disappointing time in February, but also I know there are people out there that do enjoy it, so that's why I put it at honorable mention.
I think with the dunk contest, I feel like it would be good if the big names were in it. Like
Mm-hmm.
the biggest players, like they don't want to do the dunk contest. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like Jaylen Brown did it, but apparently, like all his dunks was trash. Like,
Yeah.
when are people gonna stop dunking over Shaq? Like
Yeah.
that's what everybody does. I think he jumped over Kai.
Yeah, Kai
Cenat.
Cenat. Yes.
Like, be real. He's like this.
And so
they should have gave him a 0 for that.
And
you can't be real, bro.
And so that's why and then I'll go to the next. That's why when I do think they should open the dunk contest to like people out there that aren't NBA athletes.
The Instagram hoopers.
Yeah, because they be doing it, and they be practicing. Like they actually put all their effort into it. So, but yeah, it was a really disappointing season. But on to the top 5 brawl. I mean, the top 5 today. I kind of gave it away, but my top 5 into the 1, 2, 5. I'm starting 5. Number 5, the Cam Newton brawl. That to me,
I haven't seen it.
During Black History Month, and you have somebody that was an MVP of the NFL that had a good run in the league in a time where, black quarterbacks in the NFL were underappreciated, and he won an MVP. He had one of the best seasons for a team with the Carolina Panthers in 2015. And he's there trying to give back to the youth. And he's getting jumped, and he didn't even get jumped. Like, and good on his end. He
fought his battle.
Yeah, he swung somebody by their dreads, and I forgot who said this in the media, but I do agree with them. Like, we see like Eli, man, I love the Mannings, like Eli and Peyton Manning. They have a camp. Nothing never happens at their camp. Other players, they have like their camp. Nothing ever happens. But you have this guy Cam Newton, and he's getting jumped by his own people.
Does anybody know like what specifically happened?
Still don't know.
Wow.
Still don't know.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's sad.
But yeah, number 4, Eric Mays, his death. If you don't know who Eric Mays is, he is a Flint.
I go low.
If you don't know who Eric Mays is, he was a city councilman of Flint, Michigan, and he went viral on TikTok and social media due to his
transparency.
Yeah, in the meetings, and him just being a character, and that like the news just broke out of nowhere. So that kind of shook hard because he was funny. Like I remember, I just stayed up all night just watching all the videos of him yelling at folks. And
how did he die?
I think he had sickness. He was 65. So
65.
Yeah. So that was a rough
Rest in peace.
Spot. Number 3, the Monique Club Shay Shay interview. That I think we kind of already knew how Monique was treated in the business, but that interview kind of like just confirmed a lot of things. And for that to come out again, Black History Month, and we see like how our own people, we can just treat our own people worse than we treat others, is just really disappointing. And so, and you could tell, like, and you watch other interviews and you saw like her stand-up special, like she was visibly hurt by that. And I'm not saying like she is not at fault for some of the things, like it's just, how we just handle the situation with her and Steve Harvey and Tyler Perry and all that stuff. So, that interview was great. If you haven't watched it, it's the Club Shay Shay interview, Shannon Sharp, with Monique. It came out this month as well. Number 2, I called this the Oma layup. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically because of artist Omalay. I forgot where he like. I don't know what country he originated in or
Yeah.
he's in, but it was basically at a concert, little background. And this dude was there with his girlfriend, and Omalay called his girl up on the stage, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you called up!" So excited, and they a sheet like a screen drops. Literally
Yeah.
looks like a big sheet,
It's like a little curtain or
like a
something.
a bed sheet,
Yeah.
and their shadow is shining, and they're literally it's giving off the aspect that they're having sex
Yeah.
on concert. And literally everybody that was in the aspect um that could see the stage and the boyfriend literally all shining the camera on him as he's being forced to watch
I feel so
his
bad for
woman
him. That's so sad. Like,
and literally grinding on each other. I literally think at one point they kissed, and the worst thing, and that's bad, but the worst thing that I saw is when the video came out and it's on social media and people are in the comment section. Oh, I'd understand if it was Usher. What?
no,
What?
no.
Are you serious?
I mean, I understand what they're trying to say, but that still don't validate nothing.
Exactly.
Cause I was watching and I think like Omale like he talked about it afterwards and was like he asked her if she had a boyfriend and like she said no.
No.
Like,
Oh my god.
Yeah. That just made us look really, really bad.
I mean, Kai did the stream where he
he had him.
Yeah.
And even then, it's like I don't know, but yeah.
I feel bad for him.
Shouts out to that dude. I mean, I know he's good.
I would have been sick.
He pushed that stuff on. Like he could dress. I know he can replace that girl or that woman. Yes,
She's for the
instantly.
streets.
But number one, and this came out this week, is the Diddy scandal. And I'm not going to talk way too much about this, but but
it's so bad, bro.
Diddy, and it came out this week that in a document in court that Diddy allegedly had sexual interactions with. We all assumed that it was Meek Mill and also Usher. The thing it described it as he had relations with a rapper who dated Nicki Minaj and somebody who performed at the Super Bowl. Well, who else really dated Nicki Minaj and who else so and Twitter that day was literally just jumping like and a lot of stuff it was funny but the reason I put this number one is because it's like the rap game is literally all like it's just flipped up on its head, and it's something that a lot of us in the black community just really value and to like see like rap is just basically a joke now. And in the month of Black History for that just really, and it's like I remember everybody on Twitter is like, well, who else did he try to do this with, and what other rappers in the game, and they posted all these old clips of Diddy and all these old clips of like 50 Cent literally calling this out. I think there was a clip about Kanye West literally like calling out Diddy and Meek Mill like before this even happened, and a lot of people were just like a lot of these rappers kind of knew beforehand, and so it really just made me just feel like a lot of like, and we kind of knew this beforehand, but I think this kind of like confirmed like a lot of shady business goes on in the rap game, the game that we all love.
The rap game and entertainment.
Yep, and it's just like for that to come out in Black History Month is just really disappointing. So
it is. I don't know how we're gonna come back from it, but
yeah. And that kind of leads us to our next topic, and it is about the rap game, and that is you see. The albums I have here, I featured some other albums, great, and these are all great albums, but it's kind of not the same. This, around like this the past couple of years, and that is the rap game dead?
Yes.
It's dying.
Yes.
I feel like.
Yes, it's dying. I feel like it's been dying for maybe like the past year. Right now, it's down. It's not
Yeah.
okay. I don't know.
I think the best music that we all listen to, like these two albums, well, all of them. How old are they? Like,
So I really don't know
That's like 20.
these are all like 2000. Well, this one came out
I was this
2015.
came
Yeah, I
out.
said it's
Damn
2015,
came out.
2016.
KOD came out, I believe, 2018. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye, that came out, I
That's a
believe,
beautiful album.
2004,
I love that.
I believe.
Like,
People don't make albums anymore.
exactly. Like, I just feel like the music that's coming out now, like, for a long time, Lil Baby was one of my favorite artists, and he recently dropped like this album, like it's called Crazy, I think. And I started like
Didn't even know about it.
Didn't even know about it either. I ain't gonna lie.
I started listening to it, and I was like, "Is this even Baby? Like, it don't even sound right. Like, it wasn't good to me. Like, I don't know if I'm just stuck on his like older music, like My Turn and all stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, that was like his era. Like, Baby owned the world for real, like 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Like,
I've always been like a Gunna dude, and spoiler, album of the week this week is Gunna's A Gift and a Curse. I'll get into that a little bit later, but yeah, and I do feel like there are rappers in the game now that are talented. Like, I feel like Gunna he has more of a serious tone with his like latest album,
Yeah.
Gift and a Curse, after getting out of jail, and a guy that I like who's come under the wing of Travis Scott was Don Toliver. He just hasn't really missed. But the biggest problem for me is that we don't really have like a big three, right? Like,
We don't.
and I kind of go into detail about this. So, like in the '90s, right, you had Biggie, and Jay-Z came from under Biggie's wing. He took that and he shot forward. And in my opinion, the Jay-Z is like the greatest rapper of all time.
I agree.
I disagree.
Oh,
That's fine.
okay.
But, you had Kanye come from under Jay-Z's wing, and he has, in my opinion, the greatest discography ever, like, for rappers.
Okay, hold on. But, okay, wait. Hear me out. Because I know there's going to be some controversy.
Mhm.
You have to separate the art from the artist.
Okay.
Separate
That's
the art from the
literally
artist.
what I said last
That
episode.
is true.
Separate the art from the artist. Because I love Kanye. I love his music. Anybody who knows me knows. I love this album. I love Life of Pablo.
Graduation.
Graduation.
College Dropout.
I love all of his stuff. But every time I bring him up and say he's one of my favorite artists.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, it's valid. It's valid.
Like-
But, like you said, separate art from artist. But, Kanye came from under Jay-Z's wing. A remarkable career. You had Lil Wayne, who, had arguably one of the greatest runs ever for a rapper.
I agree.
And in the process of that, or after that, he had Drake and Nicki Minaj under his wing, and they took that and they went to it. You had J. Cole. Jay-Z literally gave J. Cole the Rock Nation chain live on stage, passing the torch. J. Cole, one of the big three. Kendrick Lamar, last one. Kendrick Lamar literally came from under the wing of the great Compton rappers. Literally in a song, he said, I'm the only next to Snoop that could push the button. And that, like, if you don't know what that means like, I'm the only person in Compton that could really bring back this East versus West stuff if I really, really wanted to.
Yeah.
And nobody had a problem with it, right? Like, and so they're the big three, but I think the biggest problem is, like, we don't have anybody to pass the torch off to. Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick, Nicki Minaj, like, they are not passing the torch off to the next generation. And as much as I think that the talent has to be there, I think that those people just don't want, like, those artists that I named, they just don't want to. Like,
I think that, like, they're making music just to make music.
Mm.
But then you can also see the dedication with some people. Like, I think in some artists, there's some artists that do it for the money and the fame, and there are some artists who do it because they like genuinely love to create.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know. I just really feel like more so Kendrick, because Kendrick is not. I mean, not more so Kendrick, because Kendrick is like willing. He's taking the back seat, but for his own personal gain. Like Kendrick is taking the back seat just because he just doesn't want to do it anymore. I don't know. Like, but like the last um song on his album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, he literally said, I choose me. I'm sorry. So like, he's doing it for himself. J. Cole and like you said, like we both are fans of like the Mallory Bros. Like they're choosing to he's literally named his title The Fall Off, right? So you're just gonna fade into retirement and like not pass the torch to anybody.
Right.
So it's like, what are we doing there?
Who would he pass it to?
That's
Who do you think he should pass to? If there was
I don't
a
know.
person.
I don't know because, like I said, like I don't know if the talent is there. Like there's talented people like JID. He's somebody that doesn't really get a lot of recognition, but he's really good. He's kind of like a little bit older.
Would you say Lil Baby?
Lil Baby's just I just don't feel like Lil Baby.
I don't think he has the creativity there.
I
don't think he has the creativity.
I think he has a yeah. I think Lil Baby's. I mean, I don't know how J. Cole and Gunna would mesh, but I do feel like Gunna like I said, is more mature, or his sound, not him as a person, but I don't want to like. No, I'm not saying like that. I don't want to call his maturity in question. I'm just talking like his sound. Like he has more of a mature sound. Like he's not like that. It doesn't really sound like
Young
that
Thug?
old. He's
Free
in
him.
jail.
When is he?
Okay, but for him, but like still, when he was out,
Young Thug is on the back burner too.
Should he be freed? Is the question.
you're right. You're very right on that.
But then you have Drake and Nicki. Like Drake is just like, and Drake can do it because he's a great artist. But Drake is just so worried about, or not really worried because he could easily do it, but he's just wanting to be at the top for so long, in which I respect that because you're at the top, nobody can beat you. So why should you take the back burner? But Drake isn't really trying to hand off the torch to anybody as well.
And Nicki.
Nicki Minaj, it's like every single artist, female artist that gets a little bit of buzz, she's beefing with.
She need to pass the torch.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
so
I don't like her new stuff. Like
I don't either. I don't understand the hype.
Like it's just you got the catchy stuff, like the but like it's like what after that?
Yeah.
And then this isn't really related, but I hated Ozzy's verse on that song.
Oh, Lil Uzi, like and that's somebody else that I thought like Lil Uzi was gonna be like really, really like, he was probably gonna be one of those
people.
Yeah, but it's
I think he could have been more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I understand. Yeah, just a little bit.
I just feel like
he's just weird.
Yeah, like I think after Eternal to Take, I think that's where I draw the line as like liking Uzi stuff. Like Eternal to Take and Back is good, but everything after that, like I feel like he been tweaking. Like
so we stopped the torch at Kendrick.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, but even Kendrick, it's like I feel like Kendrick could pass the torch to JID because JID is like somebody that he gets a lot of comparison to, and JID kind of like his albums are like stories, not really you just putting out a project just to put out tracks.
Yeah.
Like, so I think Kendrick, but JID is Dreamville. He's not TDE. So,
what do we consider good rap? What are some criterias you say you had to have?
So I do think the rap game is changing a little bit, and it's like we don't really have the same. We don't really judge rap the same like we did in like the 2010s. Like you're not gonna judge. Like I said, you're not gonna judge a Gunna album the same way you judge a J. Cole album. Mm-hmm. But I think one, I mean, obviously it has to sound good.
Yeah.
Two, does it really flow? Like, is it just a list of tracks that you just jumbled in there for a project, or does it have a story? Does it have like a does it flow together? And then three, how are you rolling? Like, how are you, I guess, advertising your album? Like I said, are you just putting this out just to put it out, or are you gonna do some promo for it? Are you gonna
That's true.
treat it like something special? Even though, like I said, Gunna's a gift and a curse, it wasn't really a lot of promo for it because one, because I don't think he really is like that, but two, he was just coming out of jail, so I kind of understand. But there was still like a story about it, like a story to it. Like it was about him coming out of jail and having to deal with all of his name being in social media and stuff like that, and him with all the backlash that he was dealing with at the time, and how he's kind of like separating himself from the rest of the rap game, like the people that he was cool with, that they don't want to be cool with him now because it was an accusation that he snitched,
Yeah.
and he talked about that in his album. So that's why I really liked it. But yeah, that's kind of my criteria.
That's real.
I think another album for me that was it had like that album feel, but it was by somebody that didn't really get a much respect. He kind of fell off, but Roddy Rich when he dropped Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial,
Mm.
that album was really really good, and
That album was good.
it felt like an album,
I remember.
like a legit album, but he doesn't have the consistency now.
I'm gonna go back and listen to it.
Yeah, really
I
good.
forgot about that album.
Yeah.
No, I think what you said about the promotion of it, I think that does play like a really big factor in it because around the time that I think Drake does a good job with his.
Mm.
I don't know about the more recent ones, but I know for Certified Lover Boy, he was doing all the like the billboards and stuff. Like it gets people excited to listen to it, and I feel like it gives you not that it makes it sound better, but like people are
More intrigued.
more inclined to enjoy it, and yeah.
I like, even though she's not really like in the rap category, Beyonce, like when she dropped Renaissance, she had a concert for it. She had a movie for it. Like
Yeah.
the promotion of that album was insane. I'm not even gonna lie. And I mean, there's not really a lot of storytelling within that album, but there are some songs that like kind of encourage you to just be like have more confidence, you know.
And even somebody like this is like I used to be like a huge like stan of him, but I kind of fell off. But like Travis Scott, like his rollouts of his albums have always been great. Astroworld, like his promotion for that, I remember going back to like waiting for it to drop, and he dropped Stargaze like before that, like a little trailer stuff like that, and like how he had like the big blow up head. That's the vinyl I should have brought out, but because I have that vinyl. But yeah, it's just like we don't really treat the album releases like they used to be treated,
Yeah.
and it's not really us. It's like how the artists really treat it, and we're just in a real like we're in a real age of like it's just we don't have any unique creations like creativity with music, with film, with entertainment stuff like that. It's like it's just this is just really a dead time. But moving on, I have two more segments. If you're still watching, I would like to appreciate you for sticking with me. But yeah, so I know I kind of brought out like the bad of Black History Month, but we're gonna do a little thing to kind of enjoy some of the old times, and that is our second top five of Black sitcoms. Black sitcoms has been something that's a part of our household for a long time. I remember even me growing up, like I was watching sitcoms that were aired before I was even born, and I feel like this with Black History Month closing, this is kind of a good way to kind of reflect on some of the good times. So, you guys want to go first, or?
Yes. My top is definitely Fresh Prince. I love Fresh Prince. Every time I watch it, I laugh like it's the first time I watch it. I don't know. It's always gonna be on my top. And Martin.
Martin.
What about you?
I'd say, not gonna lie, I wasn't really into black sitcoms for real.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
I don't know. That's just not what I grew up on. Like, I grew up on like the Backyardigans.
That's real.
What's it called? Danny Phantom. I was watching
Veggie Tales.
That was good, bro.
My boy Larry Boy.
But one that I did start watching recently is Everybody Hates Chris.
Okay.
I like Everybody Hates Chris. It's like I started watching it last semester because I was still on campus. Because we had to sing at graduation, and I was done with my classes for like a whole week, and I was like, I just have time to kill. Like, I was like, okay, let me watch this. So I ended up watching it. I loved it. So,
Yeah.
You should watch Living Single.
Living Single. What is that?
Yes. It's a black sitcom. Just watch it.
Yeah.
All right.
Sitcom kind of changed. Like they kind of turned into like a little bit like from the 90s to like the early 2000s. They kind of changed from like the sitcom on a set to like, kind of like a more reality based. So some of mine will be more reality based, but my number 5, separate the art from the artist,
I know exactly what
but the Cosby
I knew he
Show.
was about to say that.
I love the Cosby Show. I was brought up on the Cosby Show, and it's a shame that we have to look at the Cosby Show in such a different light.
Yeah.
But I love the Cosby Show.
Shout out to the Cosby Show.
Number 4, the Bernie Mac Show.
Okay.
Love the Bernie Mac Show. Rest in peace, Bernie Mac, the real king of comedy. Miss the Bernie Mac Show. Number 3. It's so hard because it's like I gotta leave some stuff out, but number 3, Martin.
I said that
Love Martin.
Martin.
Martin, oh my gosh.
Martin will forever be funny.
I remember like literally falling asleep, waking up at like 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and Martin's just on my TV.
Yes.
Number 2, Everybody Hates Chris. I love Everybody Hates Chris. And then number 1, ultimately the king of black sitcoms, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is so good that they literally remade it into an actual show.
And then the actual show is actually good.
It is.
It is.
It is. So
makes me terrible.
No,
yeah.
for real.
But that one is like, I remember going to, I was like, all right, let's see how you go.
Right. And it was good.
They did such a great job with like mixing up the characters. Like Carlton, he's like kind of whitewashed a bit, but he also has drug problems.
Yeah.
The dad, Uncle Phil, we knew Uncle Phil was like this strong black man, but like this rendition, you kind of have like, he has a little bit of shady business to him and stuff like that. So it was really a good.
I like how they added in like more depth of it
Behind the characters and stuff like that.
Yeah,
we made the switch to film, and towards the end of this episode, the last bit I have is Netflix. Netflix is becoming the devil, something that we all loved. And we thought, from the transition to Blockbuster, we got Netflix. And now it's like, all right, Netflix is just doing way too much.
Yes.
A little too greedy now.
They're increasing their prices again. They already took password sharing from us. And now they're increasing their prices for the second time. And so I know for me, if you don't know, I mean, you probably do know, but like if you do choose the password share, it will literally it won't literally automatically cut it off. They'll let you get a little bit in. Like you can watch us for a little bit more. And then when you turn back on Netflix, you go to, literally they'll have the accounts. Like literally they'll have the accounts.
Yeah.
And I click on my profile and it says, your TV isn't a part of this household.
Yes, that's what happened to me yesterday. Oh my God.
And so I had some stuff I wanted to watch, and now I have to wait till I go home later today to catch up on all my Netflix binging. But, the worst part about it is that Netflix is king of the streaming industry.
It is.
And so once they do something, everybody else is going to follow.
Yep.
And so we already saw Disney Plus is not allowing,
Doing the
password sharing.
sharing.
Hulu is not going to be allowing password sharing. So I just wanted to really take this time to really just not even give Netflix their flowers because you're already the leading company in streaming. How much more money do you need?
Is
And
it?
it's working though.
It is. People are gonna pay it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like
They're gonna pay it.
their sales and their viewership went up after they did the password. They changed the password sharing thing. So finally, before we close out this episode, like I said, spring break for A&T students is next week. Um, this will be out Monday, so it's probably already spring break for you. You'll be wherever you are on the cruise ship or Oasis somewhere.
Right.
But I wanted to do this is the third top 5 segment that I wanted to do, and that is allow me to put up my phone. Sorry. Um, I wanted to give you guys some TV and movie recommendations or show recommendations. Not really TV, television, but
As a whole,
what do you mean?
like anything.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
For me personally, I'm doing stuff that kind of came out this week I'm not this week, this month that you kind of didn't really get around to. And because I know me personally, it's like you're busy throughout the semester, you don't really have the opportunity to binge watch shows and stuff. So this week could kind of give you that opportunity. And starting off with number 5, I have Tyler Perry's movie.
Oh my gosh,
Bro.
Mia Culpa. I think that's
on the list.
okay. So now I'm not saying that these recommendations are good or bad.
But I should watch it.
Just so you can be in tune with everybody on the timeline, socially and stuff like that. I heard that this was horrible.
Yeah.
And maybe you could watch this if you're seeing your significant other. Maybe you can I feel like this will be again, I haven't watched it. I plan on watching it over break. But I feel like it might be so bad that you might get some entertainment out of it. And I feel like those movies are kind of like if you're with your family or maybe you're having a girls' night or like I said with your significant other, that could kind of create something that's so bad that it can create conversation and laughter and humor and stuff like that. So yeah, number 4 though, on to the more kind of like serious stuff. Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Amazon Prime. This is a series starring Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover, or Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino. I don't know how does the AKA works.
I heard that was good.
And Maya S. I don't know how to say her name, but it's a remake of the original Mr. and Mrs. Smith, starring Angeline or no, sorry, starring Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. I had it right the first time. And I think this is good because reading the reviews, it shows how a reboot or a reboot should be done. Like we said with Bel Air, not necessarily trying to stay too true, kind of changing some things up, but doing it in a way that's appealing to the audience. So, in the original, they drop you into like years into the relationship between Mr. and Mrs. Smith, into their marriage. But unlike that, they kind of drop you into the beginning stages and kind of see like how that was. So that's kind of cool. I feel like. And number 3, the live action series of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I haven't watched. I've been wanting to watch this, and I've seen like the reviews on. I'm a big Avatar fan, and I feel like this show, just from the reviews, and I'll see it myself. I feel like this show is getting a little bit too much flack because they're changing up some things in it, but I do feel like they're trying to make their own version by also staying true. But there are certain things that they change that will really just make a lot of fans upset. But I think it's me personally, just from seeing like clips and stuff and reviews, like a lot of people think it's good. It's just what they chose to change and stuff like that. So, uh, if you're an Avatar fan like me, check that out over spring break. Number two, the Vince Staples Show, on Netflix. It's kind of like Atlanta in a way, and Dave. So like a show, kind of like a weird kind of show that like rappers kind of do, like the you know with Donald Glover in Atlanta and Lil Dicky and Dave, kind of that kind of yeah. So and I heard it's really good.
I heard it was good
Interesting.
too.
Yeah.
I have to check that out.
And number one, it came out today officially, and that is Dune 2. That's kind of like the next big franchise in movies, it seems like. I've seen people compare it to Star Wars in terms of like the franchise of it. I haven't watched Dune 1 or Dune 2, but I know it's great. So over the break, if you should watch both of those movies, I know Dune 1 is on HBO on Max, but starring Zendaya, Timothy Chalamet, Dave Bautista, and I forgot who else is in there. Um, yeah, it has a star-studded cast. I know that for sure, and I heard it's really good. And the reviews, like I said, I checked the reviews for all of these films and shows. So, or the one film and the show, and they're all good. So, except for Mia Culpa. Um, but yeah, is there any suggestions you would like to?
You go ahead.
Okay, I have one. It's a movie out on Netflix. It's called Waves, and it's basically about this. It's like a high school story about these. There's a couple, and well, I don't want to give away the whole story. I'm gonna try to explain it without, like giving it away. So there's this dude, and he's a wrestler, and he ends up he ends up getting injured, and like he kind of how athletes are, like they kind of put it off, and like to where like they want to keep playing
Yeah.
because he want to go to college, get a scholarship for this, but um he ends up like hurting it more, and the movie goes into like all these different types of details, and his life like kind of like turns into a wreck, but there's like a very drastic thing that happens like at the kind of climax of the movie, but it like when you watch it, it'll like make you take a step back and like evaluate how you treat the people around you.
Mm,
So I think it's good to watch to like really let you appreciate like your family and whatnot, because a lot of things like aren't always guaranteed,
mm,
and it just helps you appreciate the time you have with the ones you love. I'm not going. It's really good, and I left out a lot of big parts of it, but I think that you should watch it just like for that insight on that.
mm.
My show recommendation is Your Honor. It's on Showtime, I believe, but I think it's on something else too. I forgot. But basically, it's on Ice. Oh my god, it's so good. But it's about basically this judge. His son ends up riding around. I guess their mom like the mom recently died or whatever, and he gets in a car crash, right? And he has asthma, so he didn't mean to get in the car crash, but he ends up hitting this other guy who was on a motorcycle and killing him.
Mm.
And he ends up leaving the body there, but turns out the body that he left, his dad is like this like mafia guy, runs a whole bunch of hotels in the city, and it's just really good. I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but basically the son ran from the scene, and the dad's trying to wonder who his son and stuff or whatever.
Mm.
And you just got to watch it. It's just really
Mm.
good. Like there's just a lot of, I don't know. It's just good. But yeah.
Yeah, with that being said, this was episode 2 of the Get Back podcast. I'm your host, Ashton Anthony. I would like to give one more special thanks to Antonio and Armani for joining me on this episode. And a little bit of an announcement. We won't have an episode come out spring break for obvious reasons, but I also have a trip to New York, a business trip to New York that I have to take the week after. So 2 weeks without the podcast. So we will kick back up around the third week of March. With that being said, this concludes episode 2 of the Get Back podcast. All right.